onefootflipper.
Hey everybody, Paige here, the 1 Foot Flipper. We are down here in the basement, and by we, I mean the royal we. There's nobody down here except for me, maybe Batman, and that's about it. I just recently, yesterday, finished spinning my card sales off into a completely separate eBay account. I had been working on that for 4 or 5 months. That's why I have 2 accounts, because since I'm not sourcing cards anymore and I'm not even actively listing cards, I wanted to know when that part of my business was no longer worthwhile, and I didn't want people browsing my store to see 12 cards for every normal item. And I finally completed that yesterday. Now I've got the 1 Foot Flipper store with 13,000 cards in it, and the 1 Foot Flipper store with everything else. There is still about 20 things in the other store that aren't cards. It's because they had videos, and there is no way to move a video, as far as I know, from one eBay listing to another. It doesn't let you download them. None of the automated things that can do it, so I'm just going to leave those things there until they sell. Speaking of sales, I sold a Death Pile Monster to Jolene. She's finds on the dime on eBay. I will put a link to her store below. She also bought a pack of Beatles cards that are sealed. Those are upstairs in the trading cards, so I'll just put a picture of those up on the screen. And she says, "My daughter and I really enjoy your YouTube videos. You bring practical and helpful information much needed in this community. Thanks for all you do." Well, hey, thanks, Jolene. Also sold this Styx Paradise Theater album. And lately, when I've been selling things that I have lots of similars of, I will send out a message to the buyer, especially if it's earlier in the day. So I sent this buyer a message, "Hey, if you want to buy any more records today, I'll just mail them with this one, and I'll refund you the shipping cost on those other records." And she came back and bought Chicago Greatest Hits as well. So I turned a $9 sale into a $16.50 sale. It is going to cost me about 60 cents extra in shipping, which isn't too bad. Let's talk about things that can cost you money in your business. Your death pile can cost you a lot of money. I know mine has been costing me a lot of money, because for the longest time I would list my good stuff first, push the bad stuff to the side, bad, mediocre, hard to list stuff to the side, and it built up until I couldn't move anymore, and most of the stuff that I had wasn't good anymore. So, and then I've heard of some other resellers say that they've got storage units. I've heard resellers say they have multiple storage units. I've heard about people with 3 and 4 storage units. And think about that. I check prices. They're about $100 a month near me. You got 4 of those things. You're spending $400 a month to store unlisted inventory. How long are you going to have that storage unit before you've paid more money to store the inventory than you paid for the inventory inside? I haven't really dealt much with storage and reselling myself, but every story of any friends I have in my life who've had storage units have all been very not worth it in the long run. I know I had one friend who stored basically a whole household worth of stuff for like 7 or 8 years in a big expensive unit, because, you know, a whole house full of stuff. And at the end, when they got it out, they ended up throwing almost all of it away because it just wasn't good anymore, or they know it was no longer part of their lives and they didn't need it. Gone. Many thousands of dollars to store what just went in the dumpster. And I had another friend who got a good deal on some arcade game projects, but he didn't have any space to put them at the time, so he stuck them in a storage unit, and by the time he got them back out, those broken games that, you know, still needed to be repaired had cost him more in storage than had he just bought fully working games. And I feel the same thing is happening if you're paying for storage units, especially multiple ones for your eBay business. Now, if you've got one unit and it's a core part of your business, or especially if you work out of the unit, that makes complete sense. But if you just fill up a unit that you don't touch or go to and you're just paying rent on it every month, eventually you're losing money on that. You should find another reseller, sell the whole unit to them, and move on. Let's see, what else did I sell? I sold a box of 11 pieces of curved large-scale train track, $24.99. Those were used. My last video was a detailed instructional video on how to do shipping policies, and of course that tanked. I knew that was going to happen though, because every time I do a super focused instructional video, it gets half to a third of my normal views over the next day or two, and YouTube tells me fewer of your regular viewers are choosing to click on this video. That happens every time. But what happens in the long term with videos like that is that they keep getting picked up by people searching to do specific things, and they end up rising to the top of my videos over time and getting views every day. My focused one on how to ship trading cards, that tanked when I put it out. I think it got 200 views the first 2 days, and now it gets 50 views a day, and it's in my top 5. I sold Robert Palmer, Sneak and Sally Through the Alley, $22.99. Not bad. This is already in the box, so I'm going to throw it up on the screen. I sold this Fisher-Price Red Dragon Serpent pirate ship. Sea with Viking and extra Sea Dragon. That's been in my store. That was a mistake. It has been in my store for several years. I think it's made it somewhere from around the $20 range down to the $8.99 plus ship that it finally sold at. And I know, remember I said pirate stuff is on the way out. Be very careful buying anything that is pirate related at all. You can also be wasting money in your eBay business on various subscription services. I was paying for card scanning software that I didn't use anymore. I had barely used the software in the last 4 months before I canceled it. But yet I was still paying that monthly fee on using that software. Finally canceled that. And I'm about to chop 2,000 cards out of my card store to drop the subscription level from the $55 or $65 level back down to the $20 level. And you know what? I'm just going to leave those cards I chop out in the card boxes. I'm not even going to pull them out because I don't think it would be worth my labor to identify them and pull them out. I'm just going to end the 2,000 cards that have been listed the longest. Actually, I'm probably going to try to dump them to drafts for as long as I can so I can fill them back in as things sell, but I know most of them will just end up lost in those boxes forever, and someday when I die or somebody else takes this all over, they'll get them and they'll figure it out. Another thing I've looked at is cross-listing. I know Vindu would cost me $50 a month at my level, and I don't know if I'd see an actual return on that, because it can be hard to tell. You know, would you have eventually gotten that sale on eBay or whatever, you know, wherever you're selling it? Because most of the time that I watch the videos of people who cross-list heavily, they usually only have 0 to maybe 3 cross-list sales per episode. And they don't film an episode every day. If I'm only, you know, my paying $50 a month to get 8 sales a month is, and probably 6 of those would have sold on eBay eventually anyway. I don't know if that would be worth it. Maybe it's worth it to you. I know it's better for clothing, but that is the sort of thing that for me would definitely be money wasted in the business. Speaking of business and wasting money, sold this Madame Alexander Hansel doll. He's a little fun because he still has his antique booth price tag of $59 on him. He took me 2 years to sell for $5.90. It can be amazing how much value things like this can either lose or how completely out of whack with reality sellers in various places can be about what items are actually worth. Also sold 2 packs of Wild and Free kitten card sleeves, $5.39 plus ship. That's $5.39 for 2. It's not $5.39 each. Somebody else had them at $5.39 each, and I wanted mine to move, so I put them at 2 for $5.39. Because card sleeves are not fast movers at all. Doom 3 for PC, $4.73. Surprised that even, and that sold for $11.58 shipped. I don't think a lot of people collect physical PC games anymore, probably because I bet I could go onto Steam right now or Bethesda or any of the download services and probably get this game for $5. So, you know, you're paying more for a physical copy that is probably not any more likely to outlast the download services. I think the big ones at this point are essentially eternal. I mean, they're going to probably last through my life. I don't think Steam is going anywhere. Hey, I want to shout out to Carrie American Arbitrage for continuing to mention me in nearly every episode of Trash to Cash podcast. I don't know if it's actually doing anything for my viewers or subscribers or anything, but he's just been great since the minute I started. He was my first comment on my first video. I think he is the only big-time YouTuber who actually watches me on any sort of regular basis. So that's just awesome. Thanks for everything you've done, Carrie. And I also want to shout out to Chris at Helo's World, because he's my YouTube buddy. I bounce all my ideas off of him, and he's the person I do all my reselling talk with. And he's also got a great channel, but he's been growing subscribers the very slow route, and I don't know why, because he's just got great information. So after this video, why don't you go check out and see what he's got. I'll put a link down in the description. What else? I sold a bag of Warhammer miniatures, Goliath Necromunda, $25.19. Going international. Put it up on the screen because it's in the attic and I can't get it. My wife will have to get it. I sold a box of Bachmann Big Hauler G-Scale train bridges and trestle pieces. A lot of 65 pieces for $135 plus shipping. Not bad. Need more of that big train stuff to get out of here so I can get my real filming area back. See? See? Still a giant mess. Well, also sold this Warhammer Imperial Guard Sentinel with laser cannon, $39.99. He looks kind of like an AT. He's kind of a custom job. He was put together on a base from a different war game, and I think some of his pieces came off of other items. My friend Ed made him before he passed away, and he sold for $39.99. All right, we're about done here today. Just wanted to note I just got my first negative feedback on my new store. That's the new store that I started after I split my card store off. Left me negative feedback on a video game that they put a return in on. I bought the return label and they never returned the item, and instead left me negative feedback. So thanks, Mr. Peccadoso. You're a wonderful human being. And so are all you viewers. So thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon.